My son has returned to us. I'm so happy. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Redwolf 4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. And another thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays and Redwolf 4765. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. And another very big thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. Now, we're on this breakdown / review, discussion, and analysis on chapter 103 of Four Knights of the Ladies and gentlemen, on this chapter, in the comment section down below, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also I do a Patreon below, you can videos though as one, count them $1 month, exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into last week's poll. So, last week I ended up asking y'all, Four Knights of the Apocalypse fans, I need to know, with the confirmation that we shall be heading to the demon world. After all this time, we know we shall be seeing two characters we have not gazed upon in a long while. Thus, I gotta know, who are you most excited to see? Pick a choice and let me know why down below. And I gave y'all two options, right? Because we have, like, technically an extra kind of confirmed option, but not really confirmed, which would be the child of these two options. But, you know, we don't even know if they have one yet. They have no allusions in the entire narrative, despite Meliodas having confirmed to go to the demon realm every once in a while. So we have no clue. But the two options were the king, Zeldris, younger brother to Meliodas, captain of the sevendeadlysins and current king of Leonis, and or Gelda, the queen of the demon world, wife and love to Zeldris, younger brother of Meliodas, the current king of Leonis. And, I mean, like, I knew I was low-key setting Gelda up for failure, but gosh, I think this is legitimately, let me scroll a little bit, I think this is legitimately the most definitely not. It was close. I didn't have to scroll that long. But this is one of the, like, most overwhelming, unbelievably lopsided polls I ever have seen. Because with 90% of the vote, out of 445 votes, 90% of it went to the king, Zeldris. Shout out to the 10% of y'all Gelda fans, but darn. Like, notably, I love Zeldris too. He is definitely my favorite in comparison to these two, and he's definitely the character I was more hyped to see, if you couldn't tell by the intro. But still, like, geez, I thought, like, a few more Gelda fans, like, a little bit more. Like, out of 440 votes, that means, like, 44 people voted for Gelda. That is absolutely bonkers to me. And even some of the reasoning in the comments, like, really? I mean, I see y'all. I kind of expected some of y'all to go for Gelda on that alone. I'm not even going to quote y'all, because some of y'all are devious. Some of y'all are beasts, monsters, and creatures. Don't, like, you know who you are. You know if you commented on the community post. Gelda for a certain reason, huh? Why not two reasons then? I know what you mean. But regardless, thank you so much for participating in that poll. Make sure you get your input in on tomorrow's poll, dropping at 12 p.m. to make sure your input is included for next week's review. Well, not next week's review, because we were on break next week, but the week after next review. Now, let's hop into chapter 103. What's up, guys? I'm the Pencil here, and here we are to chapter 103 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which is known as not to the demon realm, off to the demon realm. And you know, these kind of chapters I really like. It's that perfect balance between legitimate plot progression and amazing character writing. Like, it's hard to do that. It's very hard to do that, especially in like a 20-page chapter. It's more reasonable to expect, like, good character writing and good plot progression in a longer chapter, usually like monthly manga that are sitting around like 44, sometimes 50 pages. You can usually get some good stuff like that. But nah, Nakaba, when he feels like cooking, he can definitely cook. He can definitely chef it up a little bit, and he chefed it up a lot in this chapter. This chapter is not only full of, like, W plot progression, but also amazing characters, amazing character designs, amazing character interactions, and even character reveals of characters I didn't even realize were characters. Like, bro, I don't know. This chapter got me unbelievably hyped. It may be one of my favorites. Like, obviously, there are chapters that are gonna, like, go down in history as some of my favorites. Arthur's debut in Leonis chapter, Demon Mark Tristan. Like, there there are definitely the return of Meliodas. Like, there are some things that are gonna be like in our Lancelot's debut. So many other chapters that are gonna be sitting up there. But like in terms of purely balanced chapters, not chapters that just had me like off my rocker screaming to the heavens, this is definitely gonna be one of them. I love chapter 103. And before I hop into the 103, I do want to talk about the color page. Once again, Nakaba sticks with his like ever-changing color palettes. Like, bro, pick a color. Like, the anime's out now. We have model sheets, bro. You have picked colors before, but I swear these colors change like every single time. And notably, I can kind of understand some of the changes here. Like, Percy is literally being lit up by some sort of light source, so it makes sense that he would be a different color. But his magic's a different shade of gold now. His hair is like doesn't even look remotely green. I don't even know what he's looking at in there that's got him looking like that. Dragon handle seems to be colored differently. Everyone's outfits seem to be just like a little bit off their official outfits tonight. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't even like the color. The only reason I like coloring now is because I can do it in digital art. And digital art coloring is so much easier. Infinitely easier. But darn, Nakaba, like you have references. You are the guy. And I guess you could do whatever you want with them. But like, especially with the anime out now, bro, you can pick some color consistency. But there are some neat things in here. I love seeing Percy, you know, hunting for treasure and opening up the gate, seeing something that we don't see, meaning Percy's knowledgeable of secrets that we as the audience don't know, and is looking at a closed treasure box because there's a whole bunch of like unknown information about her. Donny opens the treasure box and he's literally being grabbed by one of the monsters within the treasure box. Like, it's hilarious. Like, it's always like, and like those Dark Souls-esque games where it's like, oh, there's a chest. Up, psych, that's not really a chest, that's a monster. And Donny's getting done like that, his hair's getting tugged. We do get to see Isolde once again proving she's beyond commandment level, slapping away seemingly another treasure box and just absolutely destroying it with a swing of her weapon. Shouts to her. We do see that Chion is playing absolutely no games. The monster came out of his treasure chest trying to get him dirty like that, only for him to like drop some sort of creature on it with his magical spells. Interesting, amazing to see. We see that Tristan also hasn't opened his treasure chest. I'm wondering, like, notably, I'm trying to assign like meetings to all of this and stuff like that, mainly for the knights and stuff like that. So Tristan sweating as he's looking at his treasure box, determining on whether or not he should open it. I wonder if that has to do with the fact like he's hiding from his demonic potential and he's determining whether or not he should try to delve into it and understand it in order to get control over it or keep that box closed. Meanwhile, Lance is just sitting on his box, sitting on his trauma. He just doesn't. He doesn't even want to deal with it. He's like, no, forget this. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to sit on it. And we see Nasiens experimenting, you know, pouring something on the box, and seemingly enough, it's acidic because the monster inside is freaking out. And where's Gawain? I have no idea where Gawain is. We have Tristan, we have Percival, we have Lance. There's an explosion in the upper left. Is that supposed to be Gawain? Is he supposed to be lighting hers on fire? I don't know. I don't see Gawain. We have every other character except for Gawain in this image. That's weird. Unless maybe I'm missing her? Like, no. Tristan, Lance, Percy, the three knights. We're missing Gawain. And then the Percy platoon is all here. And Donny, Nasiens. And then the remainder of the Tristan platoon is here. And Isolde and Chion. Where is Gawain? That's suspicious. I have no idea where she is. But with that being the case, W color page. We love Nakaba, even if his coloring is consistently inconsistent. But with that being the case, we do get to see the chapter itself begin. So let's hop right into it. So we open up and we do get to see that there is a whole squad, a whole group of individuals strolling up and rolling up. Look at the gang. Squad. Like, low. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. These are some heat designs, too. Obviously, we have the leader. We have the brother to Ironside, or brother-in-law, not actual brother. Still so intrigued on that entire background. Like, I need, Nakaba, I'm gonna need some more information on that. You know, the whole Percy family is so stupidly mysterious. I need more information on that. But regardless, we got Mortlock himself. You know, he rolling up, strolling up. Then we got the boy to his right. I feel like I recognize that type of helmet design, but it's all metal. Like, it's a regular swirly top pointed to the sky, but then they got this mask on with the two weird eyes, like really, really cool. The guy to the left of our boy Mortlock, he looks like ominous. I don't know. You never trust the shortest person in the group. Like, think about it. Who's the most dangerous of the seven deadly sins? It's the shortest guy. It's Meliodas. Never trust the shortest guy in the group. Who's the most dangerous of the 10 commandments? It's also Meliodas again, but realistically, it's Zeldris. You never can trust the shortest guy in the group. They're usually the most powerful. So this guy with like these weird horn, like honestly, it looks like he has axolotl ears. Like straight up, this guy looks like he could be the ultimate threat. I don't trust him. They even got a heart on their chest. Yeah, they're definitely dangerous. The person who's wearing a hat over their helmet is such a vibe. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I guess it gets hot in there, so you want to cover your head up with the hat, but how much good is that hat really doing? like, legitimately, what are you truly getting out of having that hat on your head? Like, I don't think there's going to be much that you can really do with that, but I will admit the design is low-key fire, the stripe helmet. The person with the coolest design here, right next to Mortlock, in fact, probably even a little bit more than Mortlock, if I'm being completely honest with you, is the three-headed guy. Like, notably, I have no idea what his abilities could be or why he has three heads on his mask, but that is like a low-key, I don't think it's a genuine reference. Like, there are a lot of characters drawn with three heads. It's a Cerberus type archetype. You just see it all the time. But it definitely reminds me of our boy Tarmiel, obviously, my boy. It's definitely not him. Like, there's no way, unless he like reincarnated into a human and joined Arthur. Like, there's no way that's Tarmiel, but still, it reminds me of my boy, and I love Tarmiel, so I'm gonna love that three-head design. He's the biggest and the beefiest, so you know he's gonna go down the easiest. It's just the law of nature. Usually the biggest guy, unless the name is Escanor, goes down the easiest to the smallest guy of the other group, so Percival's gonna one-tap this man. Don't be surprised, don't be shocked. This other dude, he has like a beard built into his helmet, and also he has a malicious grin, two dark, soulless eyes, and two horns. Bro is definitely the Orochimaru of the group. Call him Vexen. Bro is definitely an evil scientist ready to plot some stuff. You don't come pulling up the battle like that. Then the guy in the back is just an animal, a beast, a monster. They literally have like what seems to be a bird helmet. So they definitely gonna be calling the birds, you know, bird squad, bird. Word, bird is the word, like quite literally, bro, something else. This is a squad right here. This is a squad. We call these the 7 diabolical slayers. You know what I'm saying? Copyright already got the 7 deadly sins, so we're gonna have to call these guys the 7 diabolical slayers. Shout outs to them. Though overall, I'll admit I'm low-key hyped to see these guys fight, especially considering like if they're all decent threats, the four knights in their group is going to be kind of outdone, because if like any of them is relative to Percy, the weakest of the four knights right now, presumably, then the group's in trouble because they're going to be fighting 7 people. So it's going to be like Donny and Nasiens, Isolde low-key a command level threat though. Like, I can't sleep on Isolde, but like Donny and Isolde, Chion, and not Jade. They're all going to be like fighting one of these guys if they're a legitimate threat. Meanwhile, there are going to be 6 others that the knights are going to have to deal with. So it may be like each knight may have a 2v1 that they need to run. Actually, no, there are 4 knights, so that's wrong. So Lance may have to run a 2v1, and Tristan probably, but then everyone else can probably get a 1, or one of the knights is going to get jumped, or not one, and I mean one of the chaos knights is going to get jumped. I smell a bombastic battle coming on. However, I said the same thing about the demons, and they got done dirty off screen. So I'm not exactly sure, especially considering we're going to the demon realm this chapter. The chapter is literally called Off to the Demon Realm. It's entirely possible that despite how cool these guys' designs are, we don't actually see them fight, or at least not anytime soon, unless they literally follow our cast into the demon realm. I don't think so. Though, admittedly, them following our cast into the demon realm, our cast struggling with them, and then a certain somebody body bagging them would be great for me. Because, you know, I want my son to do good. Who's my son? I wonder. But, you know, we'll see. However, we do see that this group is not just posted up for no reason. They ain't just standing around lurking for no reason. They're posted up right outside of Dalmery. And we see that one of them asks, So, Mortlock, not to question you, but are the Knights of Prophecy and their party really on this road today? And Mortlock responds, yes, according to Arthur's new prophecy, they'll arrive behind Dalmery early this afternoon. They should be showing up at any time now. And this is interesting, right? Because I know Gwen mentioned that despite Arthur's changing of the timeline and Jade perishing when he shouldn't have, and obviously all the jacked up stuff that happened, by pure technicality, not much actually changed. But it's so interesting how, like, rigid the timeline is. Like, to the point where they do end up showing up early this afternoon. Like, when the guy pulls out the telescope, they do show up. So, Gawain's timeline brain kaleidoscope reading thing is so, like, accurate that even, like, major changes, like, presumably, when they left in the morning in the original timeline before Arthur jacked things up, they still somehow got delayed just enough to not, or to make it on time to Domri. Interesting. I'm really wondering, like, if there are ever going to be drastic changes to Gwen's visions. Because once again, I don't think she dreamed. I don't think she went to sleep after talking with Arthur in order to give out this new prediction. I think this was just how it always was meant to happen. So Jade was that irrelevant for all -5 Jade fans out there. Seriously, were there any Jade lovers? Was Jade anyone's favorite character? This is a legitimate question for me to y'all. Was Jade anyone's favorite character? Like, I like the dude, but like, was he anyone's favorite? Was he anyone's top 5? Was he anyone's top 10? Like, maybe exclusively Four Knights characters, but even then, really, was he? But let's see. We do get to take a look in a book reading Rainbow, and Brakla is the one to pull out his mystical magical telescope, and with it, he's able to clearly see and hear everything up to 10 miles away. Now, don't get me wrong, on like the grand scheme of things within the verse, seeing 10 miles or like perceiving 10 miles isn't all too impressive. Like, we know characters can sense each other like halfway across Britannia, like literally hundreds of miles away from each other. But still, it is a pretty neat device. Like, the ability to see and hear is good. Usually when you just have magic sensory stuff, like, you can't hear what they're saying. You can't see what they're talking about. You can't see who they're with or where they are. No, you just like, oh no, 154 miles due east. There's something strong there. Like, maybe. And sometimes you can't even tell who it is. Like, at times, people can sense what magic is which magic, or whose magic is whose. Like, Meliodas could tell it was Monspeet who saw them, but Monspeet couldn't tell it was Meliodas. But that may be because Meliodas was nerfed. There are definitely questions about that, but still, magic sensory abilities are good, but this telescope is kind of neat. It would be cool if it had a range of like 100 miles or so, because it's like, it's just a telescope. It's not like it's going to be useful in battle. It's not like a scouter or anything like that. But still, neat. A very neat telescope. As always, with all the magical artifacts, except for like Macduff's glove, it looks extra super weird, just like all the chaos stuff is. And Brakla takes a look, and we see that he does in fact spot our group rolling on down, moving inch, moving. And there's some interesting things to note here, because we do get to see that the group is in fact going along to Domri. And another interesting thing is Gawain is still small. She is still small. And it is the middle of the day. Like, hypothetically, I could let some things slide, but no, this is very definitively the middle of the day. Why is she still small? Why is she so small? Like, are these clothes tailored specially to, like, keep her in base unless she wants to? I don't think so. I think Meliodas literally just said, oh yeah, these are tailored in a way that they will adapt to your size changing. That happens with Sunshine, but she's still small. And like, notably, I could just write it off and be like, oh, well, my L didn't get that much buffer, if buffer at all, when wielding Sunshine, so why we go in? But we know she has a big buff form. She's literally the tallest person in the group when she's at full size, or even not. We don't even know at full size. We've never seen Gawain enter the 1. And if the 1 is any indication, she could like double in size when she enters that state. So why is she so small? Is this like a choice thing? Like, notably, the reason Escanor could be small in the middle of the day is because he had the glasses. The glasses were what were able to lock off his magic. How? I don't know. Merlin just managed to do that because Merlin's built like that. But like, why is Gawain still small in the middle of the day in broad daylight? I don't know. That seems a little bit strange. Once again, the more and more we see Gawain, the more and more questions I have. And based on how we know so little about Percy, I highly doubt I'm getting answers anytime soon. I've kind of just resigned myself to my fate. However, with that being the case, we also get to see that with us seeing the Four Knights, that means Brakla saw the Four Knights. She's like, that's darn, bingo. The Four Knights also have company. Huh, what's that? The woman in front of them. That's Io the Demon. What's she doing going with the Knights of Prophecy? Wasn't she on our side? Interesting. To be fair, we have no idea who just ran into the... I like to imagine that one day Arthur was like, you know what? I want some new servants. One of y'all just go run to the demon realm and go get me some. And like, they all just ran in there. But like, how is Dio, oh lord, muda. But regardless, how is Io so well known that Brakla, I don't know Brakla's background or history or anything like that, but how is Brakla so well informed about Io that he's like, oh, that's Io the demon. Like straight up, they know who she is on sight. I have no clue. Is Io important? No, that wouldn't make any sense. I was about to say, is Io like Zell and Gel's kid? Like, I don't think so. That wouldn't make any sense. That would be the only way I could like reasonably explain her notoriety, unless she's like a royal servant or something like that. Like, how does everybody know Io? And by everybody, I literally just mean Brockla. But like, still, maybe it's just because like she was one of the 6 that was taken from the demon realm and like made to be Arthur's servants and started obeying Arthur, and this like all the knights are giving an update and we're like, hey yo, if you see this woman, she either has like weird flesh wings, flesh hair, and big old stompers, and or she's one of the best designed women in the entire duology. If you see her, that's Io. Do not hit her. Like, maybe Arthur just did that and like someone broadcasted a picture like, hey, this one's on our side for now before I cook her. Now, don't attack her. Like, maybe that's why they know, but it seems so interesting that they specifically note her as Io the demon. Like, that's like a title, like Io the demon. Like, that's like saying Meliodas the demon, or Zeldris the demon, or Percival the human. Like, I guess. Like, it makes sense within the context of like Adventure Time, because there aren't many humans. So calling him Finn the human, yeah, it literally is his title, because he's like the only one of those that there are. Except for like Ice King, I guess, but they don't really know that. And same thing for something like Ben 10, wielder of the Omnitrix, because in his universe, he's the only wielder of the Omnitrix for the most part. So yeah, it makes sense why they call him that. But like, in a world full of demons, goddesses, fairies, giants, and humans, like, calling your Io the demon seems repetitive unless it's important. I don't know. However, we do get to see that Morlock's like, okay. Don't miss a single thing they do or say. And we see that Barkla says, got it. So they are watched. And while we do cut away from them this chapter, we do not see this knight group for the rest of the chapter. That doesn't mean the knight group doesn't follow them, or isn't observing them, or maybe chasing them. That is yet to be seen, because this is seemingly a massive divergence from the prophecy. So while it seems like some general timeline stuff will say the same, unless Gwen is hiding stuff from Arthur like she could have been or should have been, then realistically, that means that this is a massive change. The knights were not meant to head to the demon world. They were meant to head to Dalmery to split up. But they aren't. They're going to the demon world. Does this mean that they can't come back to Dalmery and split up anyway? No. So maybe in the long term, Gwen's idea is still right. But still, it's very interesting how there were two things, or two arguments, or two sides to the argument. Either A, the knights will follow this set prophetic timeline perfectly to the point where they arrive in Dalmery in the early afternoon, or get close to it in the early afternoon, like Gwen's prophecy said, and like Mortlock was told, or they will defy fate massively because of the mistake that Arthur made. Who knows? It's very up in the air. However, speaking of mysteries of characters, Percival asked the question that we all were asking after the end of 102. Oh, by the way, Io, how do you know me? Have we met before? And Io, like, giving the most vague answer this side of the Mississippi, decides to say, you really don't remember anything? Even though we all doted on you. Shame that. Huh? Like, what? Like, wait, what? Like, wait, what? I had to shift in my chair to roll forward a little bit. Hope you heard that. Like, what? You used to dote on him? You? Who seemingly has recently left the... I mean, you have a human disguise, so maybe not. But still, huh? You, a demon, used to dote on Percival, someone who Nakaba and then series has repeatedly told us is just a human dude, huh? Like, let me know. Like, what? Did Ironside get in where he could fit in with a demon? Like, huh? Like, what is happening? Now I'm so confused. This raises even more questions. Because at first, there are already a whole bunch of questions on what Percival's actual origins are the moment Deodra got introduced. Because Percival didn't exist there, and Ironside's supposed only wife perished. And Ironside wasn't talking about no Percival, he was talking about Deodra. And we know Deodra exists enough that other family members to him, and Percy, like Mortlock, recognize Deodra as their own independent being and like interact with him. It's not just like a solo illusion that Ironside sees. No, Ironside's brother-in-law is like, oh yeah, this is my nephew. So like, huh? Question. And now it gets ever more complicated. There's already the complications of Varghese and where he falls in the entire timeline, because we don't see him anywhere near in the flashback with Deodra. We have no clue about him. We have no clue when Mortlock joined Camelot. But now there's also this extra layer of Io apparently knowing Percival because she and the others used to dote on them. Like, who's we? Is it like the whole demon clan? Is it the demon world? Like, what? Who is we? You speaking French? Like, I thought I was reading the English translation. What, we speak in French? Because that is so crazy to me. Like, huh? And notably, once again, she does not even elaborate. She just says, even though we all used to dote on you. Shame, Matt. And proceeds to not say a single extra word. And Percy, why'd you wait so long? Like, you left Walnock, and you waited this long to ask about that. That's like a major question that you should have asked immediately. And no one presses her on any more information. Like, this is a huge revelation, even in verse. Like, obviously, it's a huge revelation to us out of verse because we want to know more about Percy's background and history and stuff like that. But even in verse, considering the whole controversy around the knights and their origin and stuff like that, the fact that no one, especially not Lance or Tristan, asked, like, wait, what you mean? What you mean we? Like, what you mean you used to dote on him? Like, is he from the demon world or something like that? No one even knows. The only thing is, we get confirmation from Anne as she asks, hey, do you really not remember a lady as pretty as that? And I know, and if you think she's pretty, you don't want to see the comment section. I know they are fiending with this chapter. But regardless, we see that Percy's like, well, I was living alone with my grandpa on the Lord's finger for 16 years. I have no idea. And we see that Anne's like, well, I hate to break it to you, but she doesn't seem to be lying or anything. And Nasiens brings up the good point of, oh, I wonder if she taught you the demon language. That's a good point. I thought that hypothetically Percy just like knew it, and or he was like recalling information from his magic or some like weird stuff. Like he just picked it up, or he picked it up very quickly. Like I've seen it a lot in fiction where characters will like hear a couple words of a language and then suddenly be able to speak the whole thing because that's just how their abilities work. And I thought maybe the same thing could happen with Percy, but no, Nasiens brings up a good point. If Percy was doted on and raised by demons, then, well, it's entirely possible that bro could have just learned the demon language from there. Like, I know people who were, like, raised with either one half of their family speaking one language, one half of their family speaking another, or their caretakers spoke a language that their family didn't normally speak, and they learned it. So maybe that's what happened with Percy here, and he just doesn't remember. Though, admittedly, that goes against, like, the don't use it, you lose it principle, because if he did, that's the thing, it doesn't make sense. Because when? When could they have doted on him? Because Percy was a baby. He was literally, we've seen in the flashback extras with Varghese, that Percy was baby as early as, like, the moment they got to the Lord's finger. Like, we see Varghese training when he still has black hair, and he notices there's a weight on his arm, and he sees baby Percy on his arm. And then Percy remembers all of his life on the Lord's finger. So, when did this happen? I don't know. Is Percy's memories wrong? Are they falsified? What is the deal with Percy? So many questions. That's the thing. Like, with Gawain and Percy, two characters who we don't have, like, direct background connections on. Like, Gawain, we know the origins of some of her magic. And, like, her literal innate magic in Sunshine. But even then, she's taking weird twists on that. So there's mystery around her with that. And we know nothing about Percy. And the more and more we learn about Percy, the less and less I'm convinced we know anything about bro. Like, I'm not even sure what to trust with them anymore. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that they have, in fact, reached a portal or the road to the demon world. It begins here. And notably, the portal to the demon world is just a big old rock. Like, it's just posted up there. And that does, I don't know why I find that so funny. It's just like, rock. Demon world. It'd be like that when it be like that sometimes. I don't know, it's hilarious. However, we see that Chion's like, what? More like a dead end. So you did trick us. I will tear you limb from limb, demon scum. And, like, okay, Chion, like, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you for being suspicious, especially after your homie got done in. But, like, come on now, bro. You are in a world of magic, monsters, and beasts. You know that everything's not gonna be as it seems. And even Donny, if the Donners can tell, hey, chill out, bro, maybe there's a trick to it, Chion, you may just be overreacting a little bit. And we see that he was like, okay, don't believe me? Bet. Try pressing your hand against the rock face. And Percy, you know, being Percy, he's like, oh yeah, sure, why not? I trust you absolutely and completely. And we see he does dive his hand right into the rock face, and it goes straight on through, like straight up, like he's sticking his hand in pudding. And we see that Percy's like, Nani nice kiskano? And we see that everyone's shocked that Percival's arm went straight into the rock. And Gawain straight up mocks it, like, oh wow, the gate to the demon world is hidden by a paltry illusion. And that is true. I wonder if people just like accidentally walk. But then again, it is a rock. Like, most people will not like walk into or directly interact with a rock. Notably, I do think the portal is a little bit off though. Like, there is a massive hole in the rock. Like, maybe if it was just like a big old rock structure, you'd be less inclined to stick your hand in it. But like, some people would just walk through the rock and end up accidentally transporting themselves to the demon world. So I think they should. It is a little bit of a paltry illusion, Gawain. I won't disagree with you 100%, but don't go mocking the demon world like that. Not like that. And we see that Percy dives straight on in. He's like, ooh, and he dives head first. He's like, oh wow, there's like a world. There's a road swirling down underground forever, and hopefully not forever, because that would imply that the underworld or the demon world is somehow in the earth, which wouldn't make any sense at all, because we have seen the demon world has 2 moons, not 1 but 2 moons. Unless we're going with like some Godzilla versus King Kong sort of inner world earth logic. I have no idea how that would work, but we do get to see that everyone comes in after Percy and like, wow, it's so high, and everyone's like, wow, Donners, you're spitting right now. And we see that they should have asked Chion specifically, is like, is the demon world really at the bottom? And we see that Chion's like, wait a minute, forget me asking about the demon world being at the bottom. Why the heck do we have to go to the demon world anyway? We want to get to Camelot. And we see that Eo's like, well, if you would consider why I would be taking you to a location. There's a road in the demon world that leads to Camelot. There might be others, but I don't know any apart from the demon world. Huh? Eo just dropping like these classified lore pieces right on top of our heads. What? There's a road to Camelot in the demon world. Why? Like, no, legitimately, why? That seems weird. Why? Like, unless Zeldris and Arthur have some sort of thing going on, why? Why would there be a world, or why would there be a path to Camelot from the demon world? Huh? Like, notably, no, that doesn't even make sense. Like, I was about to say maybe it makes sense, because like maybe every single thing that's not chaos that makes a realm like is secretly interconnected. Like, you can find a way to any realm from one of the other realms. But Dum Dum Bubblegum Pencil, Arthur made Camelot. Who Arthur is chaos. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You would think there'd be a realm or a way to the Camelot realm from the mortal realm, because chaos technically created both of those things. But no, there's a world. I keep saying world. There's a road to Camelot in the demon world. I wonder why. I mean, it explains how her people got jacked. Like, it explains how she and herself were put under Arthur's control and stuff like that. But why, of all things? Like, Arthur, you putting things in strange spots, bro. You putting things in strange spots. However, we do get to see that Nasiens asks, okay, well, that's great news and all. How far down do we have to go? And we see that Gawain, being Gawain, is like, well, if we don't want to go by foot, why not just drop down? I mean, she's not exactly wrong. Like, if you just want to skip the whole hop, like, half of you can fly, and the other half that can't fly can be carried by those who can fly. So, like, she's not exactly wrong. But I love Lancelot coming in and be like, yo, chill out, stop it, quit teasing. And with that being the case, I wonder why they don't just drop down. Like, it could work. Like, you could have Lancelot transform into fairy form. He can fly on down himself. Tristan can carry Isolde and Chion, like, on his back. He can spawn enough wings for that. The horses and everyone else can be carried by Percy's big old magic bubble. So reasonably, there is no reason to walk down, but I do love the character interactions here, and I think it's worth the walk down. And one of my favorite dynamics that I'm afraid we still won't get to see much of, though admittedly the path has drastically changed. The original plan seems to be entirely out the window now. With that being the case, I love Gawain and Lancelot's dynamic. Lancelot pretty much has the older brother effect on nigh on everyone in the group. The only person he doesn't seem to have a little brother effect on, or older brother effect on, is Tristan, because they seem more like twins, or like at least close. Well, obviously they're close friends, but like brothers that were born around the same time, so no one has like a direct influence on each other. But I love how Lance is the one that's like, Gawain, chill out, stop being me, stop scaring the kids. I love that, because it does make sense that Lance would be the one able to rein in Gawain and her teasing and her nonsense. Why? Because Gawain herself said, the only ones who can order me around are those who are more powerful than me. And after seeing what Lance did, likely against the demons and especially against her uncle Arthur, I think Gawain very well understands where she stands next to Lancelot. So it is nice. I do like that dynamic. And I hope we get to see more of it, especially with the group staying together for a lot longer than I expected. I hope we do get to see more and more of the dynamic between the knights. And we see... Oh, wait, let me not get to that yet. We see the goat, the Chad, the mightiest creature within all of the Seven Deadly Sins duology and likely fiction itself. Sylvain the Chad can apparently not walk on this road. He's afraid that his almighty, multiverse-shattering power and his boundless hooves would absolutely annihilate this simple transportation down to the demon world, and thusly he needs an escort. And I gotta respect my boy Sylvain. He is the mightiest. He is the pinnacle. He is all there is. Sylvain is. Forget Darkseid. Sylvain is. And we see... Yo, like, Nakaba really is the kind of guy who will sucker punch me right in the soul. Like... We always talk about certain characters bypassing conventional durability. Yeah, Nakaba's fully capable of bypassing my conventional, like, emotional durability. Because by mentioning that Tristan's horse is named Escanor, bro, my soul took physical damage. Like, straight up, my incorporeal soul and emotions took, like, 99.9% damage. I felt that right in the feels, bro. Tristan says, it's a shame, but it's too much for even Escanor here. His name is Escanor, bro. His name is Escanor. Tristan's horse's name is Escanor, bro. Why is the horse named Escanor? Because Escanor literally carried the original series on his back. Like a horse carries its rider on its back. Bro, Nakaba, like right in the feels, bro. Right in the feels. Like there was no need. There was no need to hit me so hard in my emotions, bro. And like the best thing is this works perfectly because a Four Knights fan doesn't have a clue who Escanor is. I don't think this is Escanor's first mention. No, it isn't. No, it is not. I'm 100% lying. They know who Escanor is. They know of Escanor because Gallad mentioned Escanor with a whole reference image. But like this hits so personally to me because I know Escanor. And it brings a tear to my eye, bro. Like, and it's literally nothing. It's like a horse. It's a horse that will never do anything important. Literally just being called Escanor. And who knows? We may never hear it referenced as Escanor again. But it hits my heart. It does direct emotional damage to my soul because I love Escanor. And that's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I love my boy, and I love that Nakaba slid that in there just for me. A lot of Tristan's stuff is references now that I think about it. And ironically enough, references to the Wielders of Sunshine now that I think about it. Because his weapons are named Esteros and Mael, his two swords, and they represent the demon side and the goddess side. And his horse is named Escanor. So Tristan, the dark horse of the original series, just seems to be carrying a whole bunch of references to him. I love it. I love it. And we do get to see that the savior, the Chad, the protector of the almighty Sylvain, decides to step forward. And it's Donny who says, you just leave those two to me. And we see that Donny literally means leave those two to me because he literally starts levitating both of the horses, which is fantastic. I love that he's training like this. And speaking of, we do get to see that Lance transformed into Sin for some reason. Like, I don't know why. Like, bro, you literally have a form that allows you to fly. I don't know. It seems like a weird choice to make. At least if you ask me, it seems very strange that you would immediately transform into Sin, like a form that gives you, I mean, presumably it probably gives them a little bit more dexterity. 4 feet are better than 1 in a walking sense, but you can literally fly, bro. Like, you literally can fly. Even if you can't fly in your base form for some reason, you can fly in your fairy form. I don't know. But I mean, I get like on an external level, it's nice to see Sin again. Every single time you get to see this little fox, it's a nice callback to early Four Knights. And to be fair, we are still very much in early Four Knights. I do not think we're even halfway done with the series at this point. At best, we're a third of the way done. And even then, we're realistically not even that far done. So obviously it's nice to see the reference to him, but I wonder why. However, with that being the case, we see Lance once again being the dad friend of the group, the mom friend of the group. He's like, all right, everyone, watch your step and go forward. Love my boy Lance. Love my boy Lance. He may be mean, cold-hearted, a trickster, a jokester, a giddy little guy, but still, he loves, cares for, and wants to protect his friends. So he's like, hey, everyone be careful. Watch your step. And I love that. And he specifically tells them, do not look at the bottom of the hole. I know there's just a general, like, don't look down thing. Like, everyone who has a fear of heights, even I've told people, don't look down. Fun fact, I do love roller coasters, and I have friends who also like roller coasters, but sometimes I need to like drag them onto some because they aren't like as crazy as I am. So I'm like, hey, whatever you do, do not look down. Don't chicken out. Do not look down. And especially after like we've walked up like a long wait or a long hallway for something, I'm definitely like, do not look down. So I understand Lance saying that here. And we see that Chion is jealous of Isolde, who's being carefully guided down by Tristan by hand. I mean, now that it is true, I completely forgot that, like, Chion and Tristan are not blood related, like, at all. Elizabeth isn't actually Bartra's descendant. She's just the descendant of a poor, random... Danafor. For some reason, Danafor escaped my mind really hard. He's just she is just the kid of some poor Danafor woman who got annihilated by Meliodas. He's not actually directly related. So Chion having the desire to meet Rye Tristan technically isn't weird because they aren't actually cousins. So what would you even call that ship? Tristan shippers go wild. I mean, I'm not here to judge anybody. It's the current year. That's beyond my payroll. I'm not paid to judge people. I'm paid to judge chapters. So do what you will with that. I'll lean with it, rock with it, whatever you guys want to do. However, with that being the case, it is fun. It is nice. I was about to say funny, but nah, it is really nice to see Tristan caring for Isolde, especially, you know, after losing Jade. And now that it's gonna sound dark, but now Tristan doesn't have any competition. He can put his hands all over Isolde, and there's nothing Jade can do about it but hate in the afterlife. He's probably watching just like Elaine was through the Capital of the Dead, but unlike Elaine, he ain't getting no revive. But with that being the case, we do get to see that not only is Tristan leading Isolde along, but Eo's leading the way, which is nice. I like that. Chion is using his little flame spirit that absolutely annihilated Macduff to light the way down, but also Nasiens is holding on to Percy's cape, just a little bit scared and a little bit concerned about what's going on. And I like that too, the little connections. And we see that Percy's like, hey, yo, Nasiens, don't close your eyes, bro. Don't close your eyes. That's dangerous. If you go falling, I easily could catch you, and you may land on Gawain based on your positioning. Because Gawain is actually leading the way. She's flying down, upside down, which is very impressive. Like, I don't know. I can't, like, hang upside down for that long because, you know, blood pressure and stuff like that. Or the blood rushing to the head. But with that being the case, we do get to see this nice little group. Once again, I do want more elaboration on Eo. Like, please, give me more of that Nakama. Don't just slide that interesting tidbit of lore and run away with it. Especially with this 2-week break you got. Don't you run from me. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Donnie's like, concentrate. And we see that Nasiens, or not Nasiens, Lancelot is like, bro. Watch your step too, Donnie. You can't go falling now. I ain't gonna be able to catch you, even though I easily could. I'd definitely be able to. And Donnie's like, yeah. Don't worry. And we see that the Chad, the almighty Sylvan, who since he is omnipresent, he doesn't understand the feeling of flight. While he's being lifted by Donnie, he's like, wow, it feels like I'm flying. If I had to cast, and notably, I like to voice act, even though I don't watch anime that much. If I had to cast Sylvan's voice actor, because we know he does have like speaking lines in his head or in his own language, I would literally cast the guy who did Johnny Bravo. I don't know the actor's name. I don't know the voice actor's name. But if you know who Johnny Bravo is, I know that's super duper old now. Like, I know that's a cartoon from my childhood and stuff like that. But not even. That's a cartoon after my childhood. I just remember watching some reruns of it when I got older. But still, I would cast that exact same voice actor. Like, gotta drink Willikers, man. I'm flying. To cast either him or Nicolas Cage. One of the two. But with that being the case, we do get to see that as Sylvan is freaking out, Donnie yells at him to be like, quit enjoying this. I've never moved 2 things at once before. And that is neat. Donnie actually has a decent amp here. He's moving 2 things at once, meaning his telekinesis is legitimately evolving. And of course, like, Sylvan isn't too big, and I'm not sure how mighty or hefty Escanor is, who doesn't speak in this chapter. It would be, if he ever does speak, I also want him to literally be voiced by Escanor, preferably like the smaller one. I don't think it would, I mean, it'd be kind of cool if he was voiced by like Big Chad Escanor, but still, regardless, it'd be nice if he got voiced by Escanor. But with that being the case, it is nice to see that Donnie's evolving, and we see very specifically, he isn't just evolving because like, oh, he needs to carry the horses down. But as Anne yells, can we really trust you with this? Donnie yells back, shut up, I'm concentrating. Sylvan, I keep saying Sylvan. because the Almighty, he's just on my mind. Lancelot's like, oh, okay. Because he reads Donny's mind and sees, this isn't looking good. Stronger. I gotta get even stronger. For Jade, too. Like, notably, I clown on Jade. I won't even lie. I do clown on my boy. Love him. Love the characterization he got. He's a real cool cat, but I do clown on Brody. But regardless, I like that he's not being pushed aside. Like Donny, who barely knew Jade. Jade might as well have been a can of paint to Donny. But even still, even in spite of that, the Donners still is acknowledging him. Still wants to get strong with him. Is still training for him. Because if Jade's gone, Donny will take his place. Donny will pick up the slack. And I like that. I like that a lot. Once again, Donny, crazy how much of a journey he's gone on already. 100 chapters. He's definitely going to perish. Like, I still have my money on Nasiens going first. I feel like we got to run a bet on that. But, like, I have my money on Nasiens going first in terms of who's going to perish first between all of our different side characters, none of the four knights. But Donny, with his character development, one of the best stories of growth that I've seen in like recent memory within the Seven Deadly Sins duology. Like, fantastic. Love, bro. And I love how Lancelot is even proud of Donny and his development. He laughs and smiles at him. And we see that Tristan, the self-conscious prince, he apologizes to Lancelot. And Lancelot's like, huh? What you talking about, Brody? And we see that Tristan goes on to say, if I weren't so worthless, Jade wouldn't have lost his life. And we wouldn't all have to come here. You were supposed to return to Benwick and reunite with your mother and father. And Lancelot's just like me, for real. He's like, good grief, talk about a self-conscious prince. Shut up. Like, to be fair, Tristan, if Lance wanted to go see his parents, he could have done so at any time. Like, legitimately, he could have actively made it a pit stop or like teleported there or something like that. Like, he could have done it, but he specifically didn't. He was actively avoiding his parents, Tristan. I do like the fact that once again, people are acknowledging Jade and his loss of life, like all that. I do think that's fantastic and stuff like that. But Tristan, hop off your own meat, dog. It's not impressive. Well, it is impressive, but it's not. Well, I'm about to say it doesn't pull the ladies, but it in fact, it does pull the ladies, as we see later on in this chapter. But come on now, bro. It's not that deep. And regardless, if Jade hadn't perished, but the demons, including Io, did still show up, you probably would have been coming to the demon realm anyway. So, like, this was just a foregone conclusion. This wasn't anything that Tristan can really blame himself for. And speaking of not blaming Tristan, we see that Isolde, the Omega Meat Muncher, comes in and is like, Sir Lancelot is right. We're all here because we chose to be. You did nothing wrong, Sir Tristan. I'm sure Jade would say the same. I know Jade is punching the air so hard in the afterlife. He's chilling there with Gloxinia and Droll. They're like patting him on the back and be like, I'm sorry, bro. Trust me. It happens to the best of us, Brody. It's all right. But I know Jade is in absolute agony. Here, Isolde is comforting Tristan. Meanwhile, I know Jade is like, why? It should have been me. It should have been me. And we do get to see Khan's like, don't you test my man. Because, you know, he loved Tristan like that too. And we do get to see that Tristan's like, oh, Isolde. And then Anne, Nasiens, and everyone comes to back her up. Being like, yeah, that's right. We share the same thought. Indeed, to enter Camelot and stop King Arthur. I'm sorry, y'all. And you're fine. Isolde, you're fine. Nasiens, you're gonna get packed, bro. Oh, Nasiens, your character development. In human form, Nasiens. I can feel it. Nasiens. I'm sorry, bro. It's just destined. It's digi-destined. It is digi-destined. You are one of the digi-destined, Nasiens. The digi-destined to perish. However, we do get to see that Gawain is going quiet. She's like, yeah, all right. Like, y'all ain't digi-destined to perish. Like, Gawain knows what's up. And we do get to see that Donny is like, yeah, in fact, you could say we're all in the same boat. Isn't that right, Percival? And before we get to Percival's hilarious reaction, it is like, it's nice, but it's also sad that they've all essentially resigned themselves to not making it out alive. Like, they're all just like, yeah, we're probably gonna go. And that's like, I mean, it's cool that they understand that. It's cool that they understand that they are putting themselves in harm's way. Like, they all literally had alternate opportunities that they could have undertaken back at Leonis and avoided this quest entirely, but they're all willing to sacrifice themselves. But that is sad. That is rough. I'm worried for Percival specifically with his platoon. Not necessarily Tristan all too much, but he's obviously going to go through it too. I'm very interested to see where this story of loss and suffering goes with them. However, of course, Percy has no idea, not a single clue on the idea of what "we're in the same boat" means. And we see that Lance is like, you are the one guy I will never understand in terms of your sheer idiocy and incompetency. Percy, I love you, but darn, are you stupid. And it does make sense, and I don't think we'll ever understand Percy either, because Nakaba keeps dropping tidbits, none of which correlate. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Percy's like, what you mean? Is that the name of some sort of special move? And we do get to see that the idiocy of Percy straight up drops Gawain. The blood finally reached her head. He's like, what? This guy is so stupid. However, with that being the case, we see the deeper and deeper they grow, the more demonic the structures become as they travel further. It literally seems like they're being surrounded by like the corpses or the statues of demons and creatures. Like arms and feet are literally reaching everywhere. Heads are pulling and tugging everywhere. And we see that as they get closer and closer, and they even point out how freaky it gets, Eo's like, don't worry, it means we're close to the demon realm. And we see that at the end of the cave, there is a light. There's a light within the darkness. Kingdom Hearts, feel me. I cannot do Billy Xander's voice. I can't even do the Ansem replacement voice. I can't. I wish I could. I wish I could, but I cannot do it. Fill me with the power of darkness. Kingdom Hearts is light. I also can't do Haley Joel Osment. There's some voices I really wish I could acquire. Like, I know it'd be a weird thing, but if I could have like one mundane or mediocre superpower, like obviously my main one would be like teleportation. But if I could have just like, here's the thing that you can do. I mean, it's special, but like you could just train to learn this, but we'll give it to you instantly. It'd be the ability to copy any voice. I would love the ability to do that. It'd be so fun. But with that being the case, we do get to see that there is a light in the darkness. And we see that this light is the boundary between here and the demon realm. So the demon realm is not just a place deep under the earth. It is not just a demon country. It is still a separate realm. There's literally a boundary between the two realms, which is good. Notably, I could smell it. I could smell it at the end of last week's chapter when Donny called the demon world demon country. Like, I know people are about to be like, lowballing, but y'all, we saw 2 moons. 2 moons. It wouldn't even make sense if it took place in the same realm, unless it was literally on a separate planet anyway. So, regardless, there's no lowball in it. You're stuck out of luck with that. We saw a star. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Gawain pulls up with more Carfax that I don't even know how she has. Because she goes on to say, now then, we will face 2 problems upon trespassing in the demon realm. And Percival's like, 2 problems? What are you talking about? And Gawain says, first, the demon realm's miasma. They say that the dark miasma that filled the demon realm since its birth gnaws at the bodies and mind of non-demon races. And thusly, can you imagine what would happen to a human that plunged themselves into it? So, the miasma does still exist in the demon realm. I mean, it makes sense. It's not like anyone went down there to really clear it up, but I thought the miasma was like something that, never mind, that actually just never made sense. Maybe it could have been produced by the commandments, but no, it makes sense that it's just like a natural occurring part of the realm. Rough stuff. But I don't necessarily blame people for getting this realm and purgatory confused, or thinking the demon realm created purgatory, because this is literally like the same effects that supposedly happened to one in purgatory. I mean, the specific reasons why a body would decay or rot in purgatory are different than the demon realm, like miasma versus like literal acid rain and like acid air and stuff like that. But still, the confusion is warranted when 2 realms literally do the exact same thing. Like, no other realm really overlaps like this. Like, really think about it. The mortal realm has a bunch of different biomes. The fairy realm is like just a nature paradise. The celestial realm is literally just floating islands, which is still unique. And then Megadozer isn't even a realm, because the giants kind of just suck, I guess. Like, the humans got a whole realm named after them, or I guess kind of the mortal realm. It's not necessarily called the human realm, but the mortal realm. But giants, you get a big old rock. Not even necessarily that big, because it seems like giants just exist on Britannia. Like, we don't have enough scope of the outside world to know if giants exist everywhere, but still, darn, they really only got Megadozer? Every other species got a realm but them? That's rough. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that with the idea of everyone, being completely eroded and perishing, Percival imagines getting gnawed on, meaning that I'm not even sure how he thinks of this image. Like, he thinks of a super buff variation of himself with spikes. I have no idea how he got that, but Donny, Nasiens, and Anne have a more appropriate image of them all literally melting, which once again more associated with purgatory and not necessarily the demon realm. So up in the air, up in the air. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Io's like, oh, yeah, yikers. Kind of forgot about that. Kind of forgot y'all were like human. Like not just like human, but like human. Yeah, I forgot about that. My fault, OG. I was careless. My fault. And we do get to see that Tristan is like, don't worry. That's light. Light is still work. I got you. I'll take care of that. And he says, well, no, he doesn't say, but he tells everyone except for Lady Io to take a step back. Or no, he tells Lady Io to take a step back and everyone stay where they are. And he activates his Triskelion, and he activates an ability known as Saint Coat. And a massive orb of light coats everybody, including the horses, by the way. Well, actually, no. Wait, where's Sylvan? No, where's Sylvan? Wait a second. I actually don't see Sylvan in Saint's Coat. I see Tristan and Escanor. I don't see Sylvan. Where's Sylvan? Oh, Lord. Well, he's the Almighty. He doesn't need any extra protection. But still, Saint Coat is activated on him. And now suddenly they're all coded within holy magic. And we see even Gawain gets coded and she's like, protection by holy light? Does it last one day? And we see that Tristan flat out admits, sorry, it only lasts about 6 hours. If it were Mama, it'd last a whole week. And Gawain's like, train yourself more. But Gawain, you the second weakest of the knights. I don't want to hear it from you. I definitively do not want to hear it from you. However, I don't know, my fellow scalers, tell me if I'm tripping or not, but can we use this to scale Triskelion Tristan? Like, he doesn't spawn any wings, but can we use this to scale Triskelion Tristan and by proxy Elizabeth? Mainly, like, is this a multiplier? Because he says that Elizabeth's would be able to last a week, but his only lasts 6 hours, meaning he's likely going to have to re-up it once they enter the demon world after 6 hours passes. But, like, a week. So how many hours are there in a day? 24 hours. How many times does 6 go into 24? 4. How many days are there in a week? 7. So 28 times. So this implies that presumably a regular Triskelion Elizabeth is 28 times as powerful as Tristan. If you just go with like, oh, her magic lasts longer. If you go by magic duration, or she has like, I guess 28 times magic potency in comparison to Tristan. I don't know. Regardless, it's interesting. I wonder if that can like be used to do anything. Maybe it's just like a weird little tidbit, but it's neat. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that with that first problem solved, and Nagaba revealing that he is in fact not going to draw it. He's like, fine, you get the protection. That's it. Percival asks, so what's the second problem? And we see Gawain's like, use your head a bit, or I'll turn your brains into pudding. I wonder if she actually has a spell for that. But she says, the 4 races, demons included. Oh, wait, no. The 4 races, demons and humans included, shared a mutual hatred for over 3,000 years. Do you think they'd welcome trespassing humans like us with open arms? And that is true. But Gawain, need I remind you, Isolde is commandment level. Fuse commandment level when she feels like it, which is crazy. That's above a majority of demons. I mean, I will admit the percival tune is kind of fodder. We have no quantification for the way they scale. I don't think they scale anywhere near commandments, but Donny, with his levitation ability, is able to move around the fuse commandment, which is very impressive. So you have 2 commandments to your regular dudes, and then you have you, who is also relative to chaos commandments. So let's just take it at face value and say they're stronger than original commandments. Bada bing, bada boom. That's another tier that's just entirely crazy. Percival also relative to a fuse commandment and not flat out above chaos commandments, which is also crazy. Also just a little itty bitty bonkers. And then Lance is Lance, and Tristan is Tristan. I ain't gonna lie, Gawain. Even if you had half the demon realm jumping you, there aren't that many commandment tier threats left. Like legitimately, a majority of the commandment level demons have perished. Think about it. Fraudrin, Galland, Melascula, Monspeet, Derriere, they're all gone. So I get why Gawain's a bit worried about like hostile demons, but I don't know. If a 5-man platoon of extremely powerful demons got off-screened by you and Lance, I think you'll be fine, Gawain. I think you'll be fine. Just don't split up. Do not pull a Scooby-Doo mistake again and split up and go looking for separate things when you do it, and I think you'll all be fine. However, we do get to see that Io does confirm this fear, and she's like, true. There are still demons who hold grudges against the 4 races. If you're hesitant, I wouldn't blame you. And we see Lance being him is like, whatever, let's go. Let's not even play these games. I'm starving right now, man. Let's just move it. And he is back in human form, which is nice. Love Lance. And we see that. I love Donnie being like, bro, you could hesitate just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like, come on now, bro. Aren't you worried for us? We know you're him, but we aren't him. And we do get to see that Percival declares, Lancelot is right. Let's go on. Full speed ahead. And with that, we see Lance smiles at Percy. Once again, I love Lance's older brother. I have no idea what I was about to say. Older brother dynamic with the rest of the group. It is so nice. It is so cool. I especially love it. I love it with like characters who are extremely cool, like Lance. Like usually they're all like the cold, hardened, battle crazy warriors. No, Lance is just a real cool dude. And I love how he smiles back at Percy's optimism. And we see that they all declare, fine, let's go straight into the demon world. And then we cut away to a different part of the demon world. Cut up straight inside. And we see someone that we haven't seen in years. Hold on, let me Google when that movie came out. Y'all, we see a character, or at least I think this is him. Let me look up his design once again. Let me double check. This does appear to be him. A certain someone says, I sense someone's presence just outside gate 220. We'll get back to that. That's crazy, but we'll get back to that. Whose? Unknown. A group of lost humans, most likely. Or it's possible they are a gang from Camelot who've recently been doing harm to the demon clan. What would we do? Y'all, it's Bellion. It's Bellion. Big boy Bellion. Which 100, a million, billion, trillion, quintillion, like I don't know how many other ways you want me to say it. The only thing that's different about him, which makes me think that it may not be him, is like his hair looks slightly different, but I'm 99.99999% sure this is Bellion. He just doesn't, he's not in Demon Mark right now, which is weird. But I think this is Bellion. So this just immediately confirms Prison of the Sky as not canon, because he died in that movie. And like, unless he reincarnated and grew back to his original size in his original body, he died in that movie. So, Prison of the Sky ain't canon. Personally, I never believed it was canon, but I know people argue that it's canon, but I think this entirely deconfirms it. But this is great. It means the 6 Knights of Black are here. I'm assuming they took up the role of the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are essentially disbanded and like literally destroyed. So that's great. I'm glad Bellion's here. I'm glad that design is getting used, and I hope to see the rest of them in manga form. I don't think Bellion only made a debut in that one chapter that Nakaba released that no one can seem to find anywhere. It's not on any like the official listings because it was like a movie promotional thing. It is canon. The Prison of the Sky extra manga chapter is canon. That is where we meet Bellion for the first time in manga form. That's also where we get the only glimpse of the fight that we see between Mael and Meliodas, and that's the fight that sets up that the Archangels fear Meliodas. That's that whole interaction. That's what happens right there. So that is canon, but it looks like despite what the end of that chapter may imply, it seems like Bellion found his way back to the demon realm, which is interesting, unless Nakaba's just retconning that. If he wants to retcon that manga chapter too, that'd be crazy. But still, it's good to see Bellion. I'm happy to see Brody. And he's talking to a certain somebody, a certain monster. Because he doesn't just ask, what do we do to anybody? He asks, what do we do to the great demon king Zeldris? Ah, my son, he looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy for my boy. Look at him. Look at my son. Look at him. He's even got 2 dragons on his throne. He really is like that. Great demon king Zeldris. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, bro. I'm so happy. I'm so geeked, bro. I'm so geeked. But before we talk about Zeldris too much, we gotta mention the absolutely bonkers fact that there are apparently 220 gates to the demon realm just wandering around or sitting around. Huh? Like, I'm not going to say since when, because obviously since now, but 220? Like, how big is the demon realm? Like, presumably, maybe gate will have multiple contexts here. Like, maybe it's just gates. No, but it seems so specific, like magical gates. And why would there be numerous magical gates to just, like, walk through? But if he sends someone's presence at gate 220, that means that bare minimum, there are 219 other gates into the demon realm. How big actually is the demon realm? Is Nakaba really gonna upscale? Like, if he slips up, there are 2 ways that Nakaba could slip up and like let me run free, run wild. I've been pushing Star. I've been pushing the lore meta for a while now. And obviously we got the Sun and Cursed by Light. So there really ain't much more of a meta to push. But still, if he slips up and says, oh yeah, the demon realm is like a separate time space or like a separate space time or something like that, and or the demon world is like multiple planets big or is larger than Earth or anything like that, bro will slip up and make me lose it. So that's neat. But obviously, I'm super duper happy to see my son, Zeldris. And he says, seize them and bring them here at once. As they headed into the demon realm, Percival and co. are approached by a demon King Zeldris, to be continued in chapter 104, Invasion of the Demon Realm. Couple things to note. Number one, obviously, I drew Zeldris differently than how he was drawn in the chapter. I gave him a smile. I think him looking all mean and emo here is kind of goofy. Bro, you ain't like that. You ain't like that. However, with that being the case, it appears that Zeldris is in assault mode, or something close to it. Notably, his assault mode, if this is an assault mode, is very different from Mel's. Notably, the reason I say it's assault mode and not any sort of higher level of demon mark is the difference between assault mode and demon mark is the amount of darkness that coats the body. And notably, Zeldris is entirely soaked in the stuff. Like, we've seen him wield darkness in like large amounts before. Like, he remade his sword with darkness. But no, very specifically, his whole outfit, his whole fit, except for like his ankle guards, seemingly enough, are all composed of darkness. So I guess he unlocked assault mode. I mean, it makes sense. It definitely seems feasible that he could reach the level of assault mode, and him being there now is great. Why he's seems a little bit ominous, I don't know. I think this is kind of just like a red herring. I think Zeldris is still the same soft, gooey boy that he is. Maybe he hardened up a little bit because he realized, oh wait, nah, the demons need like an actual like cold hard ruler just a little bit, so let me be a little bit serious. But we know Mel comes and visits him all the time. We know Zeldris specifically wanted a demon world that was ruled more happily and more like cordially, rather than like a strict totalitarian kind of setup that the Demon King had. I think he's still a nice dude. He's just very concerned about his people. That's why he says seize them and bring them here at once. He's like, hey, if Camelot's invading, because that's what he's assuming here, why else would someone just wander into the demon world? It'd be one thing if people were to accidentally walk into the rock and be like, oh no, I'm wandering someplace I shouldn't be, and walk out. No, they specifically came all the way down here. Usually that would signify an invasion. So I'd understand why Zeldris seems so hard pressed here and is not smiling. He's worried because he's worried about his people. Like, obviously Arthur has already kidnapped and brainwashed some of them, so he's definitely worried about them. So it's great. It's great to see Zeldris. I'm excited that he's in assault mode. I'm excited to see him interact. I want to see him interact with his nephew. Fun fact, the Q&A at the beginning of this chapter mentions that Tristan has only been to the demon world once with his dad. He's never actually like gone multiple times. I thought he would have and like developed an actual relationship with Zeldris, but I'm interested to see how Zeldris reacts to his nephew. I'm kind of hoping he's like all soft and lovey-dovey with him. Like, you know, everyone has like that one family member who's like extremely soft with them no matter how old they get. Like, you can literally be like a full-grown man with a mortgage and rent, and that one uncle or that one aunt will be like, oh, look at my little baby, and they like start ruffling the hair. Like, I hope he's like that with Tristan, because that'd be nice. And I wonder if he is one of the people that used to dote on Percival. I want more context with that. I really want to learn more about Percival and his backstory. And overall, this is like an Omega W chapter. Like, obviously, I love all the character interactions, love the character dynamics that we see in this chapter. I love seeing all the designs of the Chaos Knights. I love seeing Zeldris, my son. I love the Escanor reference through Tristan's horse, and I love seeing Bellion. And I hope to see the rest of the Six Knights of Black, the new 10 Commandments, or see if there are legitimately just like a new 10 Commandments, 4 new characters that filled with the Six Knights of Black and now guard the demon realm as new protectors in a new world. I'm very excited to see it. Overall, Omega W chapter, we are on break next week, so there will not be a review next week because I can't review what doesn't exist, but I'm super excited for chapter 104, Invasion of the Demon Realm. However, that's what I think. Please what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure the notifications so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let's see, I am starving. I am actually starving when I record this. Leave what? Leave chicken and rice in the comment section down below, because that's what I'm about to go eat. I'm about to eat some chicken and rice. So leave chicken and rice down below if you made it all the way to the end. But make sure the notifications also miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a picture down below as low as $1 down month. Exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off.